Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show, How We Grow. This is your essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business. With advice and insights from the best in the biz, I'm your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to the Vacation Rental Show. I'm Lynell Gordon, your host, and today we have Eric Moeller with us. He is the CEO of Freewyld, and they're a brand that's really reshaping the way that we approach short-term rentals. He has 18 years of experience in real estate investing, short-term rentals, hospitality. He is a serial entrepreneur. He's done a lot of different things, and we're really excited to have him. Eric is a passionate innovator dedicated to creating immersive experiences for our travelers. Welcome to the show, Eric.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I want to say something. One of the things I read about you is that you encourage guests really to disconnect when they go on vacation and to reconnect with what truly matters to them. And you say nature, loved ones, and themselves. And I really think that's a strong statement. How do you encourage them to do that?
Yeah, great question. We created, there's a lot to this origin story, but we've created something inside of our company that we called Wyld Mode. And Wyld Mode is now it's becoming bigger than what it just started to be, which was how do we get our guests to disconnect from technology when they travel to our properties and just be present, right? And, this all came about when this during COVID and lockdowns and elections and all the craziness that was happening during that time. I went on vacation in Utah, and I found myself with my friends sitting around a fireplace with this beautiful mountain backdrop and this gorgeous cabin. And I look around and everyone has their head down, looking at their cell phone, talking about the same stuff and the chaos that we just tried to leave and go to the mountains. And I got angry about it, and I grabbed everyone's cell phone, threw in a box, and I just said, we're going into Wyld Mode. Let's be present. That was a major shift for me. Was like, I recognized that I wasn't the only person dealing with cell phone addiction or technology addiction when I'm on vacation. All my friends are doing it. And the more that I talk to different travelers and people, everyone struggles with their relationship with their device. And being in hospitality, and this was during the early stages of launching Freewyld, and my belief system of going deep into building brands that really connect with people solving certain problems. I recognize this is the problem I want to solve in the business of what I'm doing in the short-term rental space, the hospitality space, is helping more people just disconnect while they're on vacation and be present with the people that they're traveling with and reconnect with nature and everything else. So it started with just a simple pine box in our cabins, but we built our entire brand around this ethos of Wyld Mode. So as soon as you book our property, we're educating you on Wyld Mode, and we're helping you create experiences at our properties and in the town of Idlewild of what to do without your cell phone. So you lock your phone away. We give you a little map that you can walk around the town without a cell phone. We give you a camera, cards, all these different things. But then we've also designed our property to where other guests that are in Wyld Mode can meet and connect with each other, right? So it started with a pine box, and now we're moving that into the next level, which I can break down into detail, but it's something I'm extremely passionate about. We have Freewyld Fridays in our company where we don't take any meetings on Fridays, and we just work on the most important thing. And in my home, I have wild boxes everywhere. We're just constantly locking our phones away and just trying to be present. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and guests are loving it.
I mean, tech addiction, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
As we all know, I'll bet you everybody out there, guys, all of you property managers, think about the last time you went on vacation. I know very few people that disconnect from technology for that. It's so hard for us as entrepreneurs, especially when you're responsible for your own business. I need advice. Give me some practical steps that you recommend that we can do. Listen, let me just tell you a quick story. I'm currently at our vacation rental. I'm trying to get it ready for the season. And I said to my husband, all right, we don't have a lot of time left before our guests come in. We need to take a vacation. I really think we should take a vacation here. And I'm finding it incredibly difficult to do. Give me advice. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the very first thing is the intention to disconnect, and then having the discipline to actually do the disconnection, right? It's literally those two things that my wife and I, and now my team and everybody else that has adopted this Wyld Mode culture, is the intention and then the discipline, right? Because these devices, wherever my phone is, I don't even know where it is right now. These devices are designed to steal our attention, and we know that, and we love it because it gives us a lot of it gives us a lot of distraction and rewards and all the things all day long, right? So first, knowing that we're truly addicted to this thing that is designed to make us addicted to it, right? Two is, when we go on vacation, we have a small disconnect weekend coming up. We're prepping our schedules, we're communicating with our teams, and we're doing everything that we have to do to design our trip for us to be fully offline. So it's not that we just pull up one weekend and say, okay, I'm going to lock my phones away. And it's like running we have a 24/7 business, right? And if we're the owners of these companies, we have to be on call to make sure that things are operating correctly and our guests are being taken care of, right? Knowing that, we prep ahead of time. So we'll work and schedule in our teams to make sure that it's fully covered. But also, as a business owner, it gives you the opportunity to disconnect. I have a friend, Austin Netzley, who wrote a book called The 2-Week Vacation Test. And his whole concept here is your business structured in a way for you as the CEO to leave it for 2 weeks on vacation with no connection? Will it fail? 2 weeks. Will it fail or will it thrive? Right? So we have to ask ourselves those questions. What kind of businesses are we building? Right? So, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go into, but that's what we do, is we set the intention like, hey, this weekend before the crazy season comes, we're going to do a disconnection weekend. Who do I need in place to make sure that everything is covered? I'm going to communicate with everybody that I'm going offline. And then when you get to that property, it's literally, you have to take the phone and put it somewhere else. So we bring, I got so many different devices. We have a bag that locks our phones, and the only way to unlock the bag is with a magnet that will separate those two. So we're literally breaking the addiction. And then you just have to trust the process, and you have to enter into it. So intention, discipline, and then of course it's support, setting up your support system that will allow you to disconnect for a day, 2 days, 3 days, and then eventually the 2-week vacation test, which I haven't yet really done myself fully. I've done about a week and a half, but I haven't done a full 2 weeks.
I understand that. I can remember in my business, it was not until I think 3 years ago, I've been in business a long time, 20-some years. It wasn't until like 3 years ago that I took a 2-week vacation. I was like, I'm taking a 2-week vacation. What I really heard that you say that I loved is help them create a disconnect schedule. So, as all of us say in business, if it's not on our calendar, it doesn't happen. That's for certain for me. We live by our calendar because there's so many things that we're responsible for. But I really love that. I'm going to throw a big brick into this theory because a lot of people use texting for upsells. In this area where I am, at least, we have a return rate on the North Carolina coast, and I would say down even into South Carolina, but all the way up to Virginia. We have a return rate that can go anywhere from 60 to 90% of people that return, and they like to come the same time. And so we have this strategy across property managers where we offer, up until Wednesday night, like you can reserve this house for next year, no matter the price. If it goes up too much, they're able to cancel, but they pre-reserve it. Now, not only is that's a revenue it's a revenue source because they're like, for $100, you can do this. Now you lose that $100 if you decide not to. So that's, that's a good amount of money. It's not the end of the world, but $100 on each reservation when you have an 82% return rate adds up to a great profit model. So we use texting for that, for people to reserve it. Click here to reserve it, and they do. So I'm trying to think, how do I balance that between the intentional disconnection and so tell me.
Are you saying like from your side or from the guest side to receive the text?
The guest receives the text.
Yeah. So like for us, Wyld Mode is we're not an off-grid property, right? Or off-grid company, right? We explored that model, and we've stayed at all the different off-grid property like brands around the country. We've gone camping, done the whole thing. And I love that. But after a day or two, it gets freaking boring. And it's like, you want to go on your phone, you want to watch Netflix. Like that stuff is amazing. Like being able to like go into, and it's like doing whatever. There's nothing bad with this stuff that we have access to. It's the addiction part that everyone, next time you go out to a restaurant, next time you go food shopping, just stop for a second and look around. 90% of the people around you have their heads down in their phones, right? So we're not encouraging our guests to go off grid the entire time. These are moments, right? So these are Wyld Mode can be in an hour. Wyld Mode can be the whole weekend, but people are still using their phones, right? So we've never really had an issue. We've never had an issue where we couldn't get in touch with a guest or communicate with a guest, especially during checkout and all of that. Plus, we also do have a flip phone, cell phone that's in there for emergencies and things like that. And we can get in touch with them.
That's wild.
Yeah. So it's like, people will carry a flip phone with them in case they need to make a phone call, emergency phone call, but they're not attached to their smartphones, right?
That is brilliant. That is a brilliant idea. I'm so in love with this concept. When
it's amazing.
I was just like, I can't imagine it working, and how can I do that? I really think that that's an important part of lifestyle. I think it does. I think it really affects us to be able to disconnect. I just, I don't have that many ways to disconnect. So I'm very interested in your thought process here.
Most people don't, right? And most people aren't even aware of it. And that's my whole, I didn't realize like I was so passionate about this until I started building the business and the brand around it. And I started recognizing that I was so addicted to my phone that it was causing multiple different issues in my life, from mental health to relationship issues with my wife and my team. And I'm just like, what is going on? And I recognize like I never give my brain a break to be bored or to be creative or solve problems. And it's like, we were talking that a lot of people who listen to this podcast are focused on like, how do I make more money with my business and grow my business? No one ever talks about the time that you need to disconnect, to think about solving the problems in your business. As a CEO, we should not be, and as a business owner, my belief system towards this is that we should minimize the amount of times that we're reacting in our business. And most short-term rental operators are constantly solving problems and reacting and all this stuff. And if you look at my calendar, which is on my screen right now, I have multiple blocks throughout my week called thinking time, where my team knows you can't get in touch with me. I'm not scheduling calls. I'm not going to properties. I'm not doing anything. I have my phone in the Wyld box, and I go into a different room where I don't have any technology, and I start journaling and solving problems that are in my business. And once I started implementing this, I started recognizing that, one, the reactive side of the business, like most fires are not fires, right? You can let some fires burn, but if it's a customer service issue or a property issue, you should have your team trained on how to solve that, right? And then that's my belief system. And it's like, we have to carve out the time to be intentional with, I'm going to disconnect from technology. I'm going to solve this problem that keeps coming up. And it could be an hour, it could be all day. As I mentioned, Fridays in my company is Freewyld Fridays, where we minimize technology and meetings specifically. And then at 5:30, my wife also runs a business. She's a business owner. At 5:30, we shut off all technology. We put on the record player. We light candles. We cook food. We have friends over, and we're present and focused, right? Like we're just in the moment type of thing. For me, that balance has made me has increased my level of problem solving and leadership skills and capacity to take on the real fires in my business. But it requires discipline. I woke up this morning with a problem on my mind and I immediately went into my cell phone, right? And started reading Slack messages and all this other stuff. And it took me a while to recognize like, oh, I need to disconnect from this for a bit and prep for my day mentally and emotionally and energy wise. So
No, I 100% agree on that. As a matter of fact, that's a strategy that I teach myself and I used in business the whole time that I take my mornings and that's my journaling time, like you say. You
nice.
write down your problems and then you think about how you can fix it. And if you can't fix it that day, you can't do anything toward it. Then it goes to my next day. And I think about the next, somewhere along the line, I'm going to have time. The other thing you talked about that's really important for business owners, in my opinion, is the blocking off of time. Now, I've never heard where you disconnect from technology, but we disconnect from being disturbed during that times. I've always had those times, even today. I've got those on my calendar. Those are blocks where I stop and whatever I need to do during that time, whether it's to continue solving that problem or work with a personnel issue, I'm taking that time. Nobody can reach me in the same way that you're talking about. Never thought about taking, offline with the phone. That is the biggest disturber for me. And that's a really great tip. The other thing you said was you turn it off at 5:30 and
on Fridays.
On Fridays.
Yeah.
And that for me, I do too. That's Shabbat for me. And that creates just a time of intimacy that doesn't exist otherwise. As a matter of fact, with my husband and I, if we ever go to dinner, if one of us picks up the phone, I always have my Kindle with me. If he picks up the phone, I pick up the Kindle and he immediately says, oh, no.
Yep.
No. I was just doing X, Y, Z. And he puts the phone back down. We have that kind of agreement between us that if he's going to pick up his phone, I'm going to read my book. So I love that thought about Friday afternoons because I think that even as successful business people, one of the things that keeps us successful is maintaining our relationships at home. And so many of our friends, you know this and I know, who are very successful business people, I mean, incredibly successful, they have a problem at home and there's so much problem with relationships there because we don't take the time to nurture them in the same way that we do our businesses. So I applaud you for this technique and for teaching this. This is so needed.
Interested in a unique franchise opportunity? iTrip Vacations provides a unique business opportunity in a thriving industry. iTrip offers an executive-level income potential with work-life balance in an exclusive territory. As an iTrip franchisee, you'll provide a full array of short-term rental property management services for the properties that you manage. iTrip offers extensive support and training requiring no previous experience. Visit us online at itripfranchise.com to learn more.
The other thing you said that I loved was less meetings. Tell me about that.
Less meetings. Yeah. Less Zoom. Look, we're in this world where Gary Vee had just launched a book a couple months ago called Day Trading Attention. And if you read, I highly recommend listening to the audio. One, it's really good to understand content and like how to grow content channels. But you'll learn that everything around us is designed to steal our attention. And without us being the gatekeeper to our time, we just become these reactive business owners that are constantly being pulled. And at the end of the day, we ask ourselves, why am I so exhausted? I hate this business. I don't want to do this anymore, but I love it, but I still want to do it. And I put all this work into it. Why aren't I happy? Like, I'm talking from experience because I've gone through that multiple times. And what I've recognized is like, yes, you got to be building something that you're passionate about. But at the end of the day, to be a really good business owner, But then also for me, what's really important is showing up and being a great husband to my wife, and like being a great friend to my friends, you know, and my circle, being a mentor to the people that work with me and for me. That all requires energy, and that all requires presence. And the only way to have the energy to contain all of that, you have to be a gatekeeper to your time, right? So I have, if you looked at my calendar right now, it's hilarious because I have multiple different colors, time blocks, and they all mean something different. And I have certain times throughout my week that I'm accepting meetings. And if you can't fit it in there, by the way, no more 30-minute meetings, 15-minute meetings or less, right? Use
tell me
Loom.
about that. Whoa. Tell me about that. No more 30 minutes. Do 15 minutes.
Why do we got to talk for 30 minutes? Why do we got to talk for an hour? What are we doing? What is the challenge? What's your suggested solution? Where do we need support? Great. Who owns it? How do we move forward? You start to realize that we waste so much time just talking in meetings and like running around things where it's like, what is the challenge that we're experiencing? So today I had a meeting with my cleaning and maintenance team. My property is about 2 hours for me, and I have a partnership with a management company up there who just does our cleaning and maintenance of our properties, and they do a great job. But they require, when I meet with them, they want an hour plus long meetings, and they just run around and dance around challenges. So today I set a 15-minute meeting, and they're like, we need an hour. I'm like, I have 15 minutes. We got everything done within 15 minutes because we were just making decisions moving forward, right? Now, you can't do that for everything, but if it requires more time, then I require you to come to the table with a agenda and a direction of where we're going on this call versus just saying we need a marketing meeting, right? It's like, I just noticed that people, we tend to just not really be present in making decisions and getting to the point, and then we just waste our time. So we have meetings, we have TikTok that's grabbing our attention, customers that are sending messages, and all these things are stealing our attention, and we can't do high level CEO work in our business.
So
where we're constantly jumping back and forth.
So what you've said is something really important, I think. These 15-minute meetings. So in technology, anybody out there who's a programmer, anybody out there that has a technology company, you know about a stand-up meeting. We call them stand-up meetings because they don't last, well, some of them are 5 minutes, but the 15-minute timer has always been hours. And you come with a problem or a solution or everything's okay. And
Yep.
You're exactly right. If you require your team to prep for these meetings in that way, then you can have a 15-minute meeting. Not only that, but it becomes the norm as opposed to the exception to have the shorter meetings. That gives you more time with your guest. It gives you more time with your owners. It gives you more time with your team. It gives you more time to think about how to solve problems. And I think that can't be emphasized enough that it actually can work, guys. You can do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, again, discipline and intention when you go into doing this, because it's very difficult or very easy to get dragged into hour-long Zoom calls all the time or whatever it is. For us, we have 15-minute meetings to discuss any challenges or support or whatever is needed. If we need more time, we call those implementation calls. And on those calls, we as a team, I have a virtual team, we as a team are working to solve that problem together. So we're not talking about it. There's a big difference between talking and then everyone having their screens focused on solving the problem. Right now, one of the biggest challenges that we have with our property is consumables. Our property is in a mountain town. It's about 2 hours from San Diego and LA, and consumables are challenging to get up there. Maintenance calls are very challenging because people aren't on the mountain all the time. And so right now we just had that 15-minute call. Now we just schedule an implementation call where myself, my COO, and a couple other team members are focused on building an actual system together that we're going to implement to solve the problem. So the goal would be by the end of next week, we don't have this problem of replenishing consumables anymore. right? Now that went from multiple hour request meetings to a 15-minute call to understand the problem, and then an hour-long implementation call to actually solve the problem. And now we're done. We're moving on, right? And it's like I assigned responsibility to the person who's going to own it. And now as CEO and business owner, I'm moving on to the next challenge in the business, or looking at the next opportunity to grow. So this is, yeah, you asked me my history in short-term rentals, and I started in arbitrage, and then I moved into growing a property management company. And I spent a majority of my time just stressed out, reactive to everything in my business. So this is all coming from a place of, I love this industry and I love what I do, but if I keep doing this, I'm going to burn out and I'm going to burn it all down. Right. So I've implemented this to understand, how do I show up as a better version of myself as a leader and as a CEO to grow these companies in a sustainable way. And it's been awesome. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun, but it requires a lot of discipline to kind of hold the line on it all.
Let me ask you this. Tell me your favorite guest or owner story.
We have a lot. Favorite guest, I would say, was we bought our current property, Freewyld, about 3 years ago. And one of our first guests when we bought was somebody that has been going to the property for years. It was an old vacation rental village, multiple cabins on it and all this. And she was going there for years since she was a kid. We bought it. She was terrified that we're changing. Change is scary for a lot of people. So we took this old, kind of, in our opinion, rundown cabin village and turned it into this modern experience. And she was the very first person that we rented to, and we kept her prices the same because she's been going there for years. But she absolutely fell in love with the concept of Wyld Mode because she was able to bring her grandkids and her whole family there and rent out the entire village. So now they're coming back to us frequently. At least she wants to come back at least twice a year for family reunions, but she loves it because her kids and grandkids can lock their devices away. And then most recently, her granddaughter just got married at the property as well. So like that whole experience was just amazing, because when we bought the property, everyone was terrified of, when I say everyone, the town, the guests, the employees were concerned about the change. But to honor somebody like that and to see like she's proud of the aspect, and then someone of her age really appreciating the Wyld Mode concept of getting her grandkids and everybody to disconnect. That entire aspect, just like, this is why we do what we do. So that's the first thing that comes to my mind. I absolutely love that experience.
I have to tell you that you've really encouraged me today. You truly have. I think that, guys, if we block time, which I do, and I don't even think about telling somebody that, but they teach you that when you're in business school. They actually teach you, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, how to block time. The 15-minute hyper-focused meetings, those are so very functional, and they're so much better than just, like you say, walking in and having this meeting without a focus. And I love your advice about being intentional with your personal time, having less meetings. I love this. Listen, Eric, if people want to reach out to you, if they listen to this and they go, wow, this guy, I've just got to, I got to talk to him. I need to know how he does X, Y, Z. Or if they're looking for a mentor to help them do some of these things, would you be willing to let people reach out to you?
Yeah, we for sure. I create a lot of content around this as well, of just like what I'm passionate about. And part of my disconnection time is just writing and creating. And then I just share that, on my channels. But I'm spending a lot of time on LinkedIn right now because I feel it's one of the smaller social media channels, but it's very intimate as well, right? Versus Instagram is there to steal your attention, move you and distract you and all this stuff. I really like LinkedIn for all the reasons that I kind of explained. So I would recommend anyone who wants to reach out, that's the best place. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on there twice a day. So it's Eric D. Moeller on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. I really appreciate your coming on to share your wisdom. And I very much respect the way that you're managing your time. That's phenomenal. I think as a CEO, it's really important, time management, and that's something that, something that we all struggle with. So thank you for your advice today. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the platform. I'm happy we got to go into something that I'm really passionate about and has changed my life. So hopefully it inspires some other people as well.
I'm sure it will be. It was very inspirational.
This episode of How We Grow was brought to you by iTrip Vacations. To find out more about how iTrip Vacations can help to grow your vacation rental business, visit iTripFranchise.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.